beginning.
Hit it, boys.
There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the rivers, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this
Time management, it's a real dilemma. It's a real problem in corporate America. It's a real problem in our professional lives. It is a major problem because we are all extremely busy and we usually don't learn it at home. Time gets away from all of us, and yet we all have the same amount of time, 40 hours in a week. We're all working with the same calendar. Because it doesn't stop, it's immovable, we have to learn to manage ourselves around it, because we're really almost not managing time. What we're managing is we're managing our priorities. The one skill that I'm going to talk about is one called triaging. Triaging your priorities. Most of us do approach time more reactive because it just pulls us. We almost feel like we just cannot get ahead. We will talk about some traps that in corporate America we all succumb to. It almost feels like we all went to the same class because we're all managing time in the same erroneous way. We're going to cover the weekly factor. If we cannot get any sense of progress in our week-to-week management of time, then really there is no point you having a 3-month goal plan. When you read the books, they all tend to start with this global thing of what are your life goals. And look, we are definitely going to cover that. But I tend to take a little bit of reverse approach because I believe that if we do not get ahead of our week-to-week routine and we get a hold of that, then there is no point creating these life goals and this pressure of what we want to do in the next 3 months or what we want to do in our lifetime or what are we trying to do in 5 years from now, and layer that on top of our week of routine that we can't seem to get ahead of. So I'm going to flip it over a little bit, but it's very doable. All right, so let me open it up.
I would like to hear more about procrastination, overcoming procrastination.
Okay, I'll tell you about that tomorrow. That's a good time management joke.
I struggle with interruptions and like prioritizing things.
Okay, interruptions and prioritizing. So we're going to cover procrastination. We're going to cover interruptions and prioritizing. So let's dive right into it. It's like a domino effect. In time management, you have a lot of different dominoes. Procrastination is one of them. Interruptions and prioritizing is another one. If you look at your workbook, take a look at the 12 elements of time management. And as I say them, I want you to rate them. Whether 1 is you're not good at it, 5, you're really good at it. I do have a self-assessment so you guys can take and score yourself. It gives you a guide that, okay, I'm pretty good at this and I'm not good at that. And at least it gives you a sense of direction. All right, so let's take a look at it. Number 1 is your attitude. So your mindset about time management. One of the mindsets about time management is I have so much work to do. I spend an hour and a half preparing in the morning. We have a different mindset. Our mindset is we have so much to do. I don't have time to prep. I have so much to do. I've got to stop every 4 hours and reorganize. What? I don't have time for that. Who's got time for that? It's like saying I have so much chopping of wood to do. I do not have time to sharpen the saw. That's a mindset. Benjamin Franklin said, life is made of time. take care of your hours, and life becomes more happy. All right, goals. Goals is the things that we want to accomplish. So if I say to you, hey, did you start your week with your goals? What are your goals this month? What are you and your family? What are your personal goals? What are your life goals? What are you hoping to accomplish? How long do you plan to be there? See, notice I went from minuscule, like what are you doing this week, to I could ask the question, hey, what's your goals for today? See, we think that goals need to be this super and large 10-year thing. Well, no, I mean, a good goal is, at the end of the day, I got to finish this report. And then after that, I got to do this and I got to do this. And I've got these 5-7 things I've got to do today. We tend to come in the day and we don't have that very well organized. And then we look at our emails and it just explodes on us. And then we don't operate from goals. We tend to be more reactionary. So score yourselves in priorities. That has a lot to do with goals. Okay. Here's the 5 things I need to do this week. Now, I got about another 8 or 9 things that I've got to do, but I'm going to treat those differently. And that's the word I'm going to have you guys learn. Just like in management and in leadership, the key word is alignment. In time management, the key word is triage. Another good way of saying is air traffic control. Triage. That one, definitely. Emergency room. That one, you know what? Put them up in the emergency room. Put them in number 4. Okay, that one, no, I think that one can wait. Triage. Triage is being able to quickly analyze so we can determine what to do with things. The ones I'm about to mention go together. Prioritizing, analyzing, planning, and scheduling are very similar. Watch, because when I say, take that one to the emergency room. See, we just planned that. You see that? I put that on a list. I analyzed and I planned it. That one, hold off on that one. See, so the act of sitting down and analyzing your goals and what you're trying to do today, if you don't triage throughout the day, definitely in the beginning, at the end, then things are just going to become overwhelming and you're just going to stay in reactive mode. But by moving to a positive, proactive mode, you tend to be a better manager of interruptions and your priorities, and it doesn't feed your procrastination. Because once things get away from you and you feel overwhelmed, the psychology of it is that, oh man, and it just drains emotionally. It's hard to pick it back up and it's hard to be excited about what I'm going to do. Why? Because it's gotten overwhelming. And if it gets overwhelming by 10 o'clock, and if it gets overwhelmed by 2 o'clock, and if it gets overwhelmed by 4 o'clock, and tomorrow's overwhelming, and we're not even at Tuesday afternoon yet, then all that is just a built-in procrastinating that it's just hard to get ahead of all that. Prioritizing, analyzing, planning, and scheduling are together. All right. Then we get into the issue of interruptions. So it's interesting. I heard somebody say it this way. You don't manage your time. You don't manage your priorities. What you do is you reverse psychologize it and you manage your interruptions. And his reverse psychology was pretty good. He says, the problem is that we consider interruptions like tornadoes, things that should happen in our life, because if we have a tornado every day, we're trying to avoid tornadoes. He says that is a wrong mindset. Interruptions is part of the game. So what you do is you manage interruptions the same way you manage everything else. So if you know you work in a very interruption mode culture, hey, you got 5 minutes? Hey, you got to have 5 minutes? Boom, emails here, emails there. And you don't build time to work on interruptions, well, you're just kidding yourself. It's kind of like playing baseball and not liking to catch fly balls. It's like, I'm not good at catching fly balls. Well, then don't play baseball. You have to be aware of what you're surrounded with. At work, it's just very high change oriented culture. And yet you build a very tight schedule of everything you say yes to. Yes, I'm going to do that today. Yes, I'm going to do that today. Yes, I'm going to do it. And everything is a yes. And you don't triage it well then you're not managing interruptions. You don't manage interruptions by avoiding it like a tornado. You manage interruptions by assuming that that's part of life because we're all so disorganized. Then the next one is meetings. You guys know how I feel about meetings. You have to have some really good meetings so you can get out and cancel the bad meetings. You cannot be held hostage to bad meetings. You guys know that's a key element. Be very strict. They have to provide an agenda. They got to provide substantial information as to why we call this meeting. It's got to be assigned tasks, follow up. Don't waste my time. And if you get caught in meetings that is just going nowhere, you have to do a process check. Okay, hey, y'all, can we talk about this? And then try to bring some sense into meetings. Then written communication. In written communication, it comes down to the issue that time is wasted because we're all chasing what we think we all said to one another. I thought I said, you thought, and so what happens is things go into the ether. They don't get clarified in writing, and therefore we chase each other. We're constantly having to revisit things that I thought we said. And also because we're chasing each other a lot in meetings, and the meetings don't go anywhere, we all then resort to a high degree of emails. The last three: delegation, procrastination, and team time. At the end of the day, if we don't protect this with good team time, if you are working on your time management, and I answer to Lydia, but Lydia does not recognize my time management attempts, or I don't agree with her time management attempts that she's trying to do, guess what do you think is going to be my efficiency? It's going to fall apart. And if I work very closely with Jim, but Jim is all over the place and disorganized, and he's got projects or he does things that impact me, then if we just simply say, hey, y'all, can we agree on some basic rules? Have them listen to this video that you said, well, you know, if we organize more along these lines, then that whole team time protects everybody. If you're in an environment where you're the only one taking this class, or you're the only one really trying it, it's going to take you a little longer, but it's still doable. The fight is worth the fight. You're fighting the habits. I usually have practiced these habits in companies where there was no commonality, no team time arrangement, and I had to practice on my own. And the challenge is everything may be falling apart, but in my world, I'm not going to live in that fire. In my department, that's not the way that we operate. Why? Because we are more time management oriented. So there's got to be a commitment. We can do this. We can do things about this. And that just segues right into the mindsets that I want us to have. Here we have the stick game. I want us to move more from a mindset of randomness to a mindset of intentionality. All of you here either have managerial responsibilities, supervisor responsibilities, or definitely organizational influence. So if you move from randomness to intentionality and you look for things that are random throughout the organization and you make them intentional, then you're helping everybody create time efficiency. I'll give you the example. Man, if we just knew who did what, well, we all know what the answer to that is we need a list. Somebody in a branch manager position can say, yeah, but I'm just a branch manager. What impact could I have if I come up with the list? Well, I think you could have an enormous amount of impact. Share it with another branch manager and say, hey, we put together this list because we are tired of wasting time. See, there's the randomness becoming intentional. We're moving things away from randomness because I, as a branch manager, saw that we're spending a lot of time doing A, B, C. Why don't I take it upon myself? You know your team is wasting time, so you have to be more proactive. Then you go, okay, wait a minute. That happens a lot. Triaging. That happens a lot. It happens again over here. It happens again over here. I got 5 people and we spend easily 30 minutes a day doing it. You know what? I'm going to move us from randomness in this area and I'm going to intentionally do something about it. That's how we get ahead. And that's how we all contribute. And then we share that information with another department or with another, say, look what I got. And ultimately you want to put that on your intranet and say, all right, everybody, here is the list that we need everyone to follow and use this and keep it updated. That's an example of moving from random to intentionality. Otherwise, it's going to stay random. So the mindset has to be of organizing the sticks instead of letting the sticks be all over the place. All right. The second mindset is one of overwhelmingness to making it doable. That's a picture of a tsunami. When you see a tsunami, what do?
You run.
Right. Why? Why do you run?
You got to get to higher ground.
Can you do anything about that tsunami? No, you can't surf it. You can't outrun it. You can't swim on it. You are going to be flooding. The habits that we have in corporate America are so overwhelmingly big, and they have been so overwhelmingly accepted as normal that we all now have the attitude of, oh, well, it's a defeatist attitude. And we let this tsunami overwhelm us instead of taking higher ground and getting ahead of it and not overwhelm us. And we have to have this mindset that, no, I will not get overwhelmed by the tsunami that everybody loves to have, because this isn't just happening by accident. There is a reason for it, which we're about to cover. We're not going to try to ride it. We're going to get ahead of it because we know what a tsunami looks like. We know that when the water starts pulling back, that's not the time to say, I wonder what this is. Oh, look at that. You ever seen dry ground on the ocean? Check it out. Look at the pebbles. Oh, look at the pictures. Oh, look at all the animals. I wonder, hey, honey, is this a tsunami? See, by that time, it's done. Because you didn't see the signals. You didn't see the things that were yelling at you. Run, run. All right, ready, y'all? Every week, something happens in corporate America. Every week, something happens in corporate America that is yelling and screaming to us that your time is about to be ruined, that all the goals that you've set are about to be shot, that what's going to happen the next 3 days, everything you've been trying to get ahead of, it's about to get washed over. And we all sit there and just go along because we feel that there's no out. There's no way that we're going to get ahead of this. So what am I telling you? Come on. What are y'all hearing me say? You have to recognize the signals. I'll give them to you today. They're very obvious, and do something about it. And then the final mindset is kind of like when you're driving, it's defense driving. You know that driving is half the time proactive, and then half the time it's what? Defensive. Is it true that on the road, the way that you drive, if you don't do certain things right, you attract hazards? For example, if you're coming to the corner and you know you're going to take a right, but when you get to the corner, you keep the car at 90-degree parallel instead of moving the car a little to the right. Everyone knows that when you get to a corner, you turn your car a little bit to that angle to let everybody know by body language, I'm headed that way, whether you put your blinkers or not. Does everybody agree with that? Okay. Does everybody also agree that when you make a turn into a high moving highway, you better step on it? Because if you don't step on it, you're going to cause others to do certain things, and then you're going to yell at them, go, ah! Yeah, but you're the one that caused that. In time management, we're constantly doing that to each other, and we're not recognizing that the way we let our dominoes fall this way. And so we have to move away from being reactive to being watchful. Let's watch myself and let's watch others. Oh, I see. She's a morning person. She likes to work here early in the morning. She does her list in the morning. We watch for behaviors of time, and then we watch for our behavior, and it doesn't become that it's our fault. It just becomes that it's sharing the road with each other. So these are the mindsets I want us to have. Here's the first value to adopt and the first habit to discontinue. Your disorganization on your part should not constitute an emergency on mine. See, that's a mic drop. I'm going to say that again. Interruptions is simply the lack of somebody else to plan becomes my emergency. And that my disorganization should not constitute an emergency on your part. See, it kind of looks like this. Hey, look, I need to talk to you about it. I need this report. And I act totally like it just came out of nowhere. No, I knew I needed that report last week. And I know I should have contacted you last week. I should have told you 2 weeks ago when I needed the report, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to wait till Monday or Tuesday because I need it Wednesday. And then I'm just going to walk in and interrupt you. And we don't acknowledge the fact that we know we're constantly last minute each other. That's what a broadside is. You broadside somebody else, and yet you act like I just found out about it. So I'm having to put pressure on you because I just found about it. When you know 90% of the time you knew about this. Acknowledge it. The other person knows you're doing it to them anyway, but you're acting like you didn't know. And so acknowledging is part of sharing the road, because what bothers us is that we're flooding each other's time. We all do it to each other. In corporate America, we have all been trained to interrupt one another. We're all addicted to interruptions. Everything's last minute. We do it to them just as well. Is saying to yourself, I'm not going to play that game. I am going to get out of interrupting people, and I am going to slowly train myself and train others that I triage interruptions. Therefore, the habit I'm going to encourage you is stop broadsiding each other. So then let's dive into the actual traps. What are the two traps that keep us all from good time management? Remember I told you the tsunami? Here it is, y'all. The tsunami happens twice a week. Remember the signals, the water pulling back, and you know it's time to run? Anybody want to take a guess? Now, if you've been in my workshop before, you can't say it. But if you think you know it, I want to hear some guesses. What do you think happens in the middle of the week that causes the tsunami to ruin everyone's schedule for the next week? Any guesses? Any guesses?
New projects arise.
Yeah, could be. That's good. But it's not new projects. That we all do it, by the way. We're all addicted to it. Somebody taught us how to do this. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. Let me show it to you. It happens usually at the beginning of Wednesday, definitely by noon, and it kills the rest of the week. Here it is.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on. I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Ronnie, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars switching to Geico?
I'd say happier than a camel on Wednesday.
Hump day.
Get happy. Get Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
I have to let the whole commercial go through because I get paid 20 cents every time I share this commercial. Guys, hump day is the tsunami. When you see Tuesday arriving and you see Wednesday arriving, that's the water. That's the water because everybody pulls back. Everybody disconnects. Everybody hangs back. Hey, Lydia, I want to talk to you. Can we meet Thursday? Nah, call me Monday. Let's do that next week. Let's do that Tuesday. And we all say, sure. And so trying to schedule somebody on Friday, not going to happen. Trying to schedule something for Wednesday afternoon, not going to happen. Trying to get people to really work on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday ain't going to happen because we've all trained everybody in corporate America to do what? That water recedes, to disconnect. And so one time somebody challenged me and said, nah, come on, Maurice. And I said, look, it's everywhere. I took the cameras out to the street and caught a random guy. Have you ever heard of hump day?
Wednesday,
What does that mean?
middle of the week.
Right?
You start down here on Monday, middle of the week is the hump, and then downhill after that.
So what does everybody start? What happens to everybody's head when hump day happens?
Almost the weekend. That's right.
Okay, so what is Thursday? Is Thursday as productive as Tuesday?
Probably not.
What about Friday?
No, definitely. The whole rat race machine, like trying to get something done when the person you're trying to reach is checking out. Use the phrase, it's all downhill.
It's all downhill after that.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody's disconnected. By Thursday, 2:00, everybody has checked out. What has happened between Wednesday at noon and Thursday, 2:00? You know, say by Friday, try to set up meetings. Everybody says, you know what? Just call me Monday. So everybody pushes everything into Monday. And Monday becomes what?
That's the rat race, baby.
So what happens is this concept right here. We waste an enormous amount of time on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday because everyone's disconnecting. Look, I enjoy the fun. I get on the elevator. Hey, it's hump day. Ooh, I'll do that with anybody. Absolutely. Look, guys, I enjoy it. I have fun with it. Hump day. It's hump day. Okay. But basically what we need to have is, hey, it's hump day. Everybody get to work. We got to prepare for the weekend instead of pulling back and disconnecting because what's about to happen Wednesday and Thursday is huge disconnecting. What are we all doing on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? We're all shoving things into where? Come on, unmute your mics on this one. Where are we sticking all that stuff?
On Monday.
On Monday. And Monday becomes what?
Rat race. Monday.
It becomes the tsunami. And we are in desperate mode. We can't triage. We make decisions that are just not good decisions. And then look at how little time we actually have to do what we wanted to do. Tuesdays and half of Wednesdays, perhaps. And then it's hump day all over again. But you know what? I'm not going to treat my Wednesday and Thursday and Friday in a hump day attitude and lower things. I'm going to get ahead of the rat race on Monday and everybody can be in a rat race, but not me. And if you don't have this approach that says, I'm not going to get caught in the corporate tsunami because everybody works from this. And then what's worse, we all then set up all our executive meetings on Monday and everybody sets up let's organize things on Monday. Well, here's what that looks like. Everybody comes to those meetings at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I love the fact that your company has said no meetings on Monday mornings. I can't say I had a little influence on that, but I'm glad that y'all did that. So your meetings really should start Monday afternoon or Tuesday because what happens is this. Everybody shows up on Monday meetings and no one's really engaged because everyone's being flooded with emails. And in those meetings, we're making decisions that have to be made. We're going to start implementing those decisions when? When do we start implementing those decisions? Next week or this week? This week. Yeah. So therefore, the leaders come out of these meetings making decisions that go announce things to their employees and basically change everyone's goals and the things they were going to do because we changed direction. And yet you wonder why your employees are disengaged, frustrated, overwhelmed, and they can't get ahead of anything. You know what? It's not worth preparing. Why? because things are going to change radically on Monday. So we're just going to have to get flooded by this. We have to get ahead of this and say, this does not work anymore. This whole habit of decreasing activities and increasing disengagement on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then that causing the tsunami of rat race on Monday, that doesn't work. And if we don't get ahead of this, anything we say in time management will not work. All right, somebody tell me what you think.
I don't know, but you scheduled these classes right in the middle of our prime working time.
I know. It's hilarious that you bring that out because when I'm training time management, I have to jump in and interrupt somewhere. So ideally, all right, ready? When should we have been doing these classes? This type of stuff should happen where? What part of the week?
Thursday, right?
Thursdays and Fridays when the whole world is disconnecting. Well, let's use that time to prepare, educate ourselves, and prepare for next week. And so Wednesday afternoons, Thursday and Friday are the ideal times to align, prepare, train. Why? Because we're not going to be able to stop the onslaught of the corporate, our members and clients tsunami that happens on Monday. So let's be more ready on Monday to catch everything and manage the enormous onslaught that happens. But we crowd up our Monday, we crowd up our Tuesday, where we could space some of this stuff out and make better use of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday when things are low anyway. Do you see the psychology of this? It's being able to judo this thing the other direction because we're dealing with time. So managing time as a group, as an organization, allowing us to make better use of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday allows us to then use that time to focus on the onslaught of issues and problems that our guests, our clients, our customers are having, and not be in meetings all the time on Mondays and Tuesdays. That's a tall order, but y'all think about it. I'm going to send you guys a link to your self-assessment. Take it, send it to me. I'll give you your scorecard, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thank you for all of you that sent me your spreadsheet, your self-assessment on time management. Everybody that got to me by 11 p.m. last night, I replied, I scored it, I returned it to you, scored it, and I returned you your report. So make sure that when you open it up, you can see your little tab. Let me show you what one could look like. Here's an individual who is very honest with themselves. There's the 12 categories: attitudes, goals, priorities, analyzing, planning, scheduling, interruptions, meetings, written communications. Depending on how you scored yourself, the spreadsheet automatically took your scores and rated them. So it put your score here at 148 out of 240. So you're 62% efficient. All right. Hey, at least you're 62 and you're not 52. It's about making progress and just pacing yourself. And what you want to do is you want to look at your score down here at the bottom. Your goal is to get all your scores past 13. In other words, you want to get your scores over to the right. So this individual, they have two sections very on the far left, 5 and 5, goals and planning. That means that those were coded red. So those are probably where you need to pay most attention. Start working on your analyzing, your scheduling, your interruptions, your delegation, and procrastination. And pace yourself. Don't try to do all this all at once. Those of you that haven't filled it out, whenever you want, no pressure, no rush, whenever you're ready, fill it out, send it to me. All right, so let's pick up where we left off, this whole idea of hump day and the rat race. Think of all the hours. How many hours do you really think the typical American and you yourself waste? I'm not talking about waste. This is not waste. Ready? I'm doing nothing. I don't know anybody that does that. I'm sure there's a bunch of people that do that. I'm talking about you are doing a lot of work that doesn't go anywhere. You write a report, you turn it in, and who knows whatever happened to that report. You did a research, who knows? That's wasted time. And then the stuff that she brought up is that, yeah, we spend a lot of time chasing people, figuring out who does what. That's duplicated, unnecessary, wasteful time. So first is wasted time by inaction. Second is wasted time that doesn't go anywhere. Work that really doesn't go anywhere. Or you work on a project and then we delay the project. We put the project on hold or things go nowhere. The third one is actual work that you do because you're chasing around a lot of stuff, a lot of emails, a lot of meetings. And then the fourth one is the one we're talking about right here, where we are actually disconnecting and slowing down. And we all actively reduce our output. It's not that we are overloaded. No, most of the time, whenever I work with somebody and with teams where they say, man, we're just overwhelmed, we have so much to do, I say, all right, guys, let's work on it. And I teach them this program, and then I quickly go into, let me see what your Wednesday, Thursday looks like. And sure enough, there is a bunch of wasted hours. How many hours do you think we're wasting? Let's be conservative. conservative. How many hours on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday do you think the typical America is wasting? Probably do waste about 4 hours a week on the back end. Now, what about Monday? You can see everybody comes to work on Monday hoping to do ABC, and then we all get hijacked. I think a lot of times it impacts Tuesday as well. Maybe by Tuesday afternoon, we're doing what we're supposed to do, but the executives and other managers came out of a meeting that changed everything on us, so we kind of had to move around things. So in that Monday, Tuesday, how many hours do y'all think?
2.
2? All right. I would put it around 4, but I'm fine saying 2. That's still 6 hours. When somebody tells me, Maurice, look, here's the deal. I'm not going to work for you for 6 hours. I just want you to know that. I'll go, okay, so you're going to knock that out as PTO time, right? Well, no, I'm not. I just want you to know I'm not going to work for 6 hours. Okay. That's what that is. Do you see it? When you look at it that way, you kind of go, well, wait, no, I'm sorry. You work 40 hours, give me 100%, you get a lot of work done. Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to disconnect to that 6 hours. Okay. That's why our employees are not as efficient. That's why we're not as efficient. The reality of it is this. Here we have several columns. If you waste these many number of hours, see, that's the left column, over a 5-day period, and you convert that to minutes throughout the year, you divide that into hours, how much does it come out? How about we do 30 minutes? So for 30 minutes times 5, that's 150 minutes. Let's figure it out for a year. But now in a year, it's 52 weeks, but let's be conservative. We got time off, we have vacation. Let's figure out 48 weeks. 150 minutes times 48 weeks. That's a total of 7,200 minutes. So we have to divide that by 60 to get hours. That's a total of 120 hours. So we got to divide that by 8-hour days. We're looking at 15 days. We got to divide that back by number of days in a week, which is 5. So there it is, 3 weeks. Let me let that sink in. 3 weeks, y'all. 30 minutes of wasted time a day at the end of the year ends up being you have an employee or yourself that did not work for you for 3 weeks. Now, studies show an average that the average American wastes on any given day. On the higher side, it's 2.5 hours a day. And you're talking about pilots, doctors, engineers, technicians, insurance, everybody. On an average, we waste 90 minutes to 2 hours a day because disengagement. We're just not happy with the workplace culture that we work with, so we're not encouraged to give 110%, even 100%. The 90 minutes become 450 minutes a week, 21,600 a year, 360 hours, 45 days. You divide that by a week, that's 9 weeks. That's a total of 2.5 months. If I can work with your team on getting them to look at their time different, look at how many hours I can open up for you guys and open up for your team. Notice how impacting a few minutes a day can be for you. Do y'all see that? If you save 30 minutes a day, in other words, if you become good at this and you start shaving 30 minutes a day, you win for yourself 3 weeks at the end of the year. This is a huge compounded interest of damage. Do y'all see how bad the impact is? What do we do about it? All right, so let's dive into the weekly tactics. There's 7 basic steps that you take in how you manage your week so you can get ahead of the tsunami. And here they are. We have to have a set of goals and a set of tasks that we know that we want to start Monday with. You're going to have to be very patient with yourself and patient with others. So don't immediately start and go create a very tight schedule and overload yourself and tell no to everybody. Okay, no. That's not what it's about. Where are you putting your tasks? It's all about your to-do list. You have to have a commitment of putting your tasks and your to-dos somewhere consistently. Habit is you have to start with a list. Start your Mondays with a list of goals. And you want to have 2 types of goals. The first goals is the unmovable ones, the ones that you are going to protect. Those are your A goals. B are the kind that you're going to be a little fluid and you're going to move them around, but you got, it's okay if maybe this one goes to tomorrow. And then you have your C goals, which are the ones you're definitely going to negotiate. And maybe you can move them around, or you do them as you have 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, or you have 5 minutes to work on it, 5 minutes to work on it, 5. So those are your C goals. But starting with a list is the key to knowing how to negotiate the interruptions that are about to happen. Because remember, focusing on your priority has everything to do with focusing on the interruptions of everyone else's priorities. It's all part of, it comes with it comes with the territory. All day long, on Monday, you come up with your list. Now, throughout the day, all day long, what do? You work your goals and you manage the interruptions. So if somebody were to call me right now, if one of my colleagues texts me, okay, and he says, "Hey man, I got to talk to you right now," what would I do?
Call them.
I'm sorry?
Call them.
Would I reply back?
You said,
Well, you're in the middle of a workshop, so no, you wouldn't reply back.
Exactly. See, there is that triage decision. And it's throughout the day, you're making those triage decisions. No, hold on. I am sitting right here in a top A priority for my day. How big of an issue would have to be for me to triage this away and go focus on something else? All of a sudden, they tell me the IRS is at my office. I would say, okay, excuse me. Guys, can I call you back in just a few minutes? Most of us don't negotiate our day. Most of us just go, yeah, sure, I got 5 minutes. Yeah, sure, come on in. And then I allow for a 10-minute conversation. So it'd be like saying, hey, Jim, can I borrow $50? Can I borrow 100? Can I borrow 200? At what point are you going to say, can we talk? Yeah, sure. $2. Hey, no problem. Next day. Hey, man, you got $2? Next day. Hey, man, you got $2? Hey, man, next day. At some point, you better say something. Why? Because you value the money and you value the relationship. So at some point, you got to go, hey, what's going on? But yet we just give our time away like it wasn't worth anything. And what I love is when people tell me, yeah, but it's my boss. I particularly say, precisely. That's who you need to do this with. My boss walks in and he says, hey, man, can I talk with you? Yeah, sure. Hold on. Let me, because I got a meeting in about 7 minutes. Okay, yeah, guys, I'm going to be, okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, go ahead. What you got? That's the way you negotiate. I didn't just say yes. I checked with, it's my schedule. So when somebody's negotiating with me, I always say, okay, yeah, hold on. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah, gosh, look, can we, 5 minutes? Okay. Yeah, because I get, okay. Or better yet, how about we do 2 o'clock? Can we do 2 o'clock? I got a good 30-minute block. We can talk about anything. Negotiate your time. If you walk around saying yes to everybody, then everyone knows that's how you manage your time. So you're training folks. If you walk around not negotiating your time, I didn't say no, okay? But I said negotiate. You negotiate your time. You have to negotiate your time. Your time is precious. Your time is the one thing that everybody wants. Your family, your friends, your children, your partners, everybody, your bank, everybody wants your time. Politicians want your vote, but everybody else wants your time. Okay. All right. And so you don't freely give it away because that's really the only capital that you have by which you can do everything else you want to do. So throughout the day, you have to work your goals, manage your interruptions, and protect your top goals. Now, I know what I just said was a tall order. I do negotiate a lot and I say yes to a lot, y'all, but I don't say yes without a negotiated statement because you have to realize people say, hey, you got 5 minutes? Because that's just a courteous way of saying I'm about to broadside you and interrupt you. And so in order for Alexis to stop disrespecting Jonathan's time and for Jonathan not to then turn around and do that to her, I have to stop that and say, we are all stopping that. Everyone get organized. Everyone call effective meetings with one another and stop bombarding each other with, oh, by the way. Otherwise, you're just not going to get out of it. Step number 2 is it.
Yeah, that's true, Maurice, because basically if you're wanting to plant the bloom, if the roots aren't pure and they're not grounded and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then nothing's going to show any fruit down the road.
Yeah, you got to plant that and you got to keep the discipline. You got to nurture that garden and protect the garden. Y'all are all leaders in your departments or influencers. Start working this on your own. Start sharing with each other the rules and the guidelines of this, protecting and respecting each other's time, and then just watch what starts happening. Everyone is more mindful of it and everyone starts organizing themselves more because it doesn't work anymore for me to send 15 emails. Email is only for 2 things. Major issues that you need to document up front because you're going to have to pull an important meeting, or 2, you're following up on a task or project that we've already talked about in person or at a meeting. Other than that, if you hit my email randomly, I'm going to reply, call a meeting. Hey, I hear you. There's 4 people involved. It looks like this could really take a long time. Why don't we call a meeting, have a Zoom, and let's get to it. I'm not understanding. So I'd like to respond, but I don't want to. Let's call a 10-minute meeting, make some decisions, and then let's start the email thread based on what we agreed. Because most of what happens in corporate America is we send emails because we don't want to have meetings, or we call meetings that should really be emails. So most of what's hitting everyone's emails right now is because people are not willing to talk first and then use email as a follow-up to what we said. And if we would simply follow those rules, emails would go down because the ones that do arrive are part of agreements and projects or things that we talked about that we were going to do. Instead of everybody trying to sit there and go, now, what is this about? So why did he copy her? What? You know what? I don't know. Or how about this one? Okay, yeah, why did you copy her? And why is she not involved? Okay, hold on. I'm going to reply to everybody. I'm going to bring somebody else in. Hey guys, boom, now I got somebody else. And that person's going, what? Wait, I thought this was, what? And all that just becomes time-consuming nightmare. And yet no one called a meeting to talk about that. And we have just killed easily. If any 5 people that you use in one email, you pretty much have to figure out 30 minutes per person per reply. And then we reply all, and we wonder why we're so overwhelmed. Practice these on your own and tell your team members, guys, I'm going to practice some new rules. I want you guys to practice new rules, and we're going to basically eventually teach everybody how it is that we handle things in our department, because we now have a new approach to time management. Then at the end of the day, what you do is you close out your day. You prep your day, your following day. In other words, all right, Monday, quitting time is 5 o'clock, 4:40. You basically look at your list, you work, and because now it's just a whole mess because, life happens. And so you pretty much say, all right, I'm going to fix tomorrow. This goes tomorrow. You organize your schedule, and then you ready for tomorrow, and then go home for the day, which is really what the next thing is you repeat this on Tuesday through Friday. You start your day with a list, you negotiate throughout the day, you work to protect your goals, close the end of the day. What do you do Tuesday? You do that again. Wednesday, you do that again. Thursday, you do that again. Friday, you do that again. And it becomes a habit. The 2 guys that I'm helping right now, they get an email, they get a text from me at 6:30 in the morning. Hey guys, don't forget, start looking at your list. If you didn't make your list last night, do you have your list? And by 8:30, they're supposed to email me or text me a picture of their list and let me know. And then what I check with them so as to keep them in this routine. Then around 4:30, 5 o'clock, I text them and I say, hey guys, don't forget, you should have already been closing out your day. If you have any problems, let me know. Remember, prioritize A, B, C, work your schedule, send me a picture of tomorrow's list. And they send me, and until eventually they start sending me texts without asking. So therefore they can do it on their own. That's the goal of the routine, is to build a routine to where you are ahead of this. Then you repeat it throughout the day. Then step number 5. I love step number 5. I love all this, but I love step number 5. Y'all, I absolutely love step number 5. It's like the magic wand. It's like all of a sudden, you ready? On Wednesdays and Thursdays, you plan ahead with others. In other words, because you know what's happening to everybody on Wednesday. Yeah. Disconnecting. All right. So there's no point to call people and say, hey, Crystal, I need to meet with you. Can we meet? And I know what you're going to tell me. I know you're going to tell me, call me Monday. I'm not going to call you Monday. I'm not going to call you Monday. So my email is going to say, hey, Crystal, I don't want to keep you long. If you want to, I can call you. But listen, I want to see if perhaps I can meet with you next Tuesday. I can meet with you Wednesday of next week. I can meet with you Wednesday, Thursday. And I basically look at the things I have to do. I look at the projects I have to do. And I think in terms of who will I need to push this coming Monday. Therefore, I get ahead a few days on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I push today. Not for today, not for this week. I basically say, hey, wanted to run this by you. Don't forget, I need to check with you on Wednesday. Could you and I meet on Tuesday at 2 o'clock to follow up on? And so I send out, normally for me, it's about 5 to 7 emails on an average that I look at all that I have to do, and I just send those emails requesting to me to meet with folks or that I'm going to follow up with them. Okay. And the incredible amount of respect that they feel, that it's like, well, thanks. I appreciate that. Oh, sure. Hey, yeah, call me Tuesday. Call me Wednesday. I actually don't agree to call anybody on Monday or Tuesday. It's usually Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday. Or else, as a matter of fact, what I did with a client yesterday, I said, well, hey, look, how about I call you sometime Tuesday afternoon? Sure enough, I got back to my office and I texted her. I said, hey, Angela, Tuesday afternoon, I'm going to give you a call somewhere around 2 or 5. Is that good? Great. This morning, I sent her an email. I said, hey, look, I looked at my schedule. It'd be better for me to call you at 3:30. Within 10 minutes, she replied back. She says, that looks good. Locked into my invite. I have a meeting with her. I think I said Tuesday afternoon. It's the idea of getting ahead because I know what you're going to go through hump day and through your rat race. I got to get ahead of that. But in order for me to get ahead of that, I got to get ahead of it before the hump day happens to you. So Wednesdays and Thursdays is the magic touch to make that happen. Then on Fridays, at the end of Friday, what do? Anybody take a guess? You close out your week. The same thing that you do at the end of the Monday, you close out your week and you make your list for the following week. If you can do a list and say, all right, on Monday, I'm going to do this, on Tuesday, I'm going to do this, on Wednesday, that's great. You get started, just worry about doing Monday. Because right now you're going to take a daily thing. Eventually you get into weekly. Fridays, what you do is you close out your week, you prep the next week, then you disconnect. And on Sunday night, step number 7, either Sunday night or early Monday before you go to work, you kind of review your list. Now, if you get really good at this to where you're step 6, you created a good list and nothing happened in your emails that by the time Monday morning doesn't change things, then that's fine. Just go from step 6 and start your week. But I normally find that things do happen. So you'd have to take a step number 7. And I tell folks at the end of Sunday night or early Monday morning, edit it, brush it off, and pump yourself up and get started. By Sunday night, I go and look at my list. I looked at any emails I look at any emails that I have that came over the weekend, which they shouldn't. That's a bad rule. It's a bad habit. Everyone works on the weekends. Is I then edit my list from Monday based on what came in by 7 o'clock on Sunday night or 10 o'clock at Sunday night. Why am I getting emails from you on Monday morning to meet at 10 o'clock? I don't want to do it anymore because everybody thinks the weekend is to push. I don't do that. I don't do that to you. I'm not doing that anymore. And watch how many hours will open up for you. That's why step number 7 is crucial, because I recognize it takes people time to adjust. So therefore, I'm willing to edit my list for Monday so that I can have good teamwork, collaboration, go into my meetings, and yes, I'll adjust for people.
The reality is when you have members calling on the phone, walking in the branches, those are not interruptions we can turn away.
Right.
That's something we have to stop and deal with. I mean, I try not to do it when we're in meetings, but there's even been times you have to get interrupted in a meeting because they need something right then to handle that member's issue.
When you're working in an environment like high customer service where the emergencies are the routine, then yeah, that's your priority. Your priority is to constantly be interrupted all the time.
Right.
But we have to bring some kind of balance, because you ever been to the hospital where you think it's an emergency, they walk in and they make you sit there for 9 hours because they triaged you. Tend to say, yes, we'll get back with you right away. And the client's thinking, okay, she's going to get back with me in 30 minutes. Not 30 minutes. I'm going to call again. I'm going to call again. I'm going to call again. I'm going to call again, because you didn't triage it. Okay. And so you train your customers that everything is now, and you're not giving them any sense of when you're going to get back with them. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I'll say is this, is you said, I'm in a meeting, a member comes in and they can't find a manager. What do? Well, Judy, you go help them. You got to go help. Okay. But then you realize, okay, I just helped this person that could have been avoided. Why could they not find a manager? Write that down. You're going to think about that. You're going to triage that. 3 hours later, happened again in that same branch. Same branch. Next day, happens in another branch. Okay, after 5 days of you tallying this, you're going to see a pattern. And you're going to see that your Denham Springs office, that happens a lot in my Denham Springs office. What's going on there? And if you dive into that, when you sit there and tell that branch manager, hey, listen, let me tell you, on Tuesday of last week, this happened. And then on Wednesday, this happened. And then on Thursday, it happened 3 times. On Friday, this happened. Half of them could have been managed better. What's going on? And then you'll find out what's going on. And your goal has to be, we have to Febreze this and lower the unnecessary instances, because otherwise everyone is going to keep practicing last minute emergencies and not fix those. But if they know that you're keeping the track and that you're asking about it, everyone will rise up to the occasion. So it's a matter of triaging, logging in, and then talking with your branch manager and saying, guys, let me tell you what I noticed last week. We got to work on this. What's going on? And then have those conversations. I'm not saying that fixes everything, but it certainly begins to reduce.
I see why now some of the managers react in the way that they do when I think it's such a priority, but it really truly is not that top of a priority. And so I get it.
I like listing out the priorities too, A, B, C.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody, remember, my podcast is every Friday, 8:15 Central. If you want to be a guest on the show, go to my podcast page and fill out the guest form. I would love to have you on the show. The page is winningintheworkplacepodcast.com. winningintheworkplacepodcast.com. Oh, one more thing. You know that you and your team need to become more cohesive and more aligned. You know that your meetings are not effective and you leave them and go in different directions and you chase each other for performance. Don't put it off anymore. You have to get aligned. You have to get out of storming. Take my 12-week course. It's private. It's a private course just for you and your leadership team, only 2 hours a week, where I show you how to get out of storming and how to build and how to rebuild a more aligned and cohesive leadership and management approach. Email me or go to my page, mauricetraining.com. All right. So remember, in closing, at the core of leadership and great management is showing a united front with the other leaders to your entire organization. It's about being on the same page, speaking of one united message, being on the same voice, being a cohesive team. That level of alignment is the difference and your competitive edge. By aligning well is how you and your team and your company can win in the workplace. Thank you for joining me. See you next week.